Right now, while most people are scrolling, worrying, and waiting for certainty, something quiet and powerful is happening beneath the noise. Silver, the asset ignored, underestimated, and misunderstood, is positioning itself for a moment that rarely comes in a lifetime. And here's the truth most people won't hear in time. The biggest opportunities never announce themselves loudly. They whisper. If you're listening right now, you're already ahead of the crowd. I want you to imagine this for a moment. 10 years from now, you're looking back at today. You remember this exact moment, not because silver exploded overnight, but because you made a calm, intelligent decision when others hesitated. That's how real wealth is built. Not with panic, not with hype, but with clarity, patience, and conviction. I learned this lesson watching people around me chase trends. They jumped from one hot investment to another, always late, always emotional. But the quiet winners, the ones who didn't talk much, were accumulating real assets, tangible, finite, timeless. Silver was one of them, not because it was exciting, but because it was necessary. Industry needs it. Technology depends on it. Money systems fear it. That combination is rare. Here's the first truth that changes everything. Silver isn't just an investment, it's leverage against uncertainty. Every major technological shift, solar energy, electric vehicles, medical innovation, demands silver. Yet the supply is limited, mining is expensive, and most silver is consumed, not recycled. Think about that. We're building a future that requires more silver, while the world treats it like it's endless. That imbalance doesn't last forever, and when it corrects, it doesn't correct gently. I know an investor who started small. No fancy background, no insider connections. Every month, instead of upgrading his lifestyle, he upgraded his position, a few ounces at a time. While others were chasing digital illusions, he was stacking something real. Years later, when inflation crushed purchasing power and markets shook confidence, he wasn't anxious. He was prepared. Not rich overnight, but free. And freedom is the real goal. Here's the mindset shift most people miss. Wealth is not about speed. It's about survival and positioning. Silver teaches patience. It forces discipline. You don't buy silver to impress people. You buy it to protect your future self. And that mindset spills into every area of life. You start thinking long term. You stop needing validation. You build quietly. Now ask yourself this. What happens when trust in paper systems weakens? When currencies are printed faster than value is created? History answers this clearly. Hard assets don't disappear. They reprice. Silver doesn't fail. It waits. And when it moves violently because years of neglect snap at once. That's why breakouts in silver aren't slow climbs. They're shocks. Here's a practical shift you can make starting now. Stop thinking in price. Start thinking in ounces. Price is what people argue about. Ounces are what you own. Every ounce is a unit of stored effort, time, and energy. When you convert unstable currency into silver, you're freezing value in a form that history respects. Even a small habit, consistent, boring, unemotional, can outperform dramatic decisions made once a year. Another example that matters deeply. Entrepreneurs who understood silver didn't just hold it, they used it as a foundation. They took risks in business because they had something solid underneath them. When you know part of your wealth is anchored, your confidence changes. You negotiate differently, you think bigger, you stop making decisions from fear. Silver doesn't just protect money, it protects mindset. Here's a question most people never ask themselves. What if silver doesn't need permission to revalue? What if the breakout isn't about speculation, but inevitability, industrial demand rising, investment demand returning, monetary pressure increasing? These forces don't argue, they collide. And when they do, the people already positioned don't panic, they simply watch. Now let's talk action, because motivation without movement is entertainment. Build a silver habit, not a silver fantasy. Decide a fixed amount, stick to it. Ignore noise. Avoid leverage if you don't understand it. Physical silver, allocated real, this is about ownership, not gambling. Think of it as insurance that can grow into opportunity. And here's a powerful life metaphor. Silver teaches, scarcity creates value, but patience creates wealth. The world rewards those who can wait while preparing. While others consume, you accumulate. While others react, you position. This is how generational mindsets are formed, not with luck, but with logic and restraint. I want you to feel this clearly. You are not late. You are early. But only if you act before comfort returns to the crowd. The window doesn't close with a sound. It closes when everyone suddenly agrees. By then, the upside belongs to those who moved when it felt quiet and uncertain. Imagine explaining to your future family why you chose stability over impulse, why you valued real assets over temporary excitement, why you understood that freedom is built before it's needed. Silver isn't about predicting the future perfectly, it's about respecting reality. And when the headlines finally change, when silver becomes obvious, remember this moment. Remember that certainty doesn't come first, action does. Confidence is built after commitment, not before it. Most people misunderstand why silver matters, and that misunderstanding is exactly where opportunity lives. Silver is not just a metal you buy and forget. It is a position you take against uncertainty, against instability, against a system that rewards speed but punishes impatience. Think about how the world actually functions today. Every solar panel, every electric vehicle, every advanced medical device quietly depends on silver. It is consumed, not stored. It disappears into technology while demand keeps growing, yet the supply does not grow at the same pace. This imbalance is not opinion, it is mathematics. I've seen ordinary people benefit from understanding this early. Not traders, not insiders, just disciplined individuals who decided to convert a portion of their effort into something real. One man I know worked a normal job, no shortcuts, no hype. Every month he bought silver before he upgraded anything else in his life. No new phone, no status purchases. Years later, inflation eroded the value of money around him, but his purchasing power remained intact. He wasn't celebrating price spikes, he was calm, because calm is what preparation creates. Silver teaches a powerful life principle. Real security is built quietly. While most people chase returns, smart investors focus on resilience. Silver sits at the intersection of money and industry, which makes it dangerous to ignore and powerful to hold. It does not rely on promises, apps, or confidence in institutions. It exists whether headlines are optimistic or fearful. When you hold silver, your mindset changes. You stop needing to react to every piece of news. You understand that value does not need approval. This patience transfers into other areas of life. Business decisions become clearer. Risk becomes calculated instead of emotional. You begin to think in decades, not weeks. Scarcity combined with necessity always reasserts itself over time, and those who recognize that early were never the loudest voices in the room, but they were always positioned before the shift happened. Most people wait for permission before they act, especially with money. They want confirmation from the news, from friends, from price charts moving fast enough to feel safe. Silver rewards the opposite behavior. It rewards those who move while it feels boring, slow, and overlooked. That is how real positioning is built. By the time silver feels obvious, the advantage is already gone. I've watched investors transform not because they were smarter, but because they were consistent. They treated silver like a habit, not a bet. A few ounces at a time, month after month, regardless of headlines. While others were chasing quick wins, they were quietly building a foundation. When inflation rose and markets became unstable, they didn't panic. They had something tangible, something finite, something that didn't depend on trust in systems that change overnight. Silver also reshapes how you think about risk. When part of your wealth is anchored in something real, you stop making fearful decisions. Entrepreneurs who hold precious metals often take better business risks because they are not desperate. They negotiate from strength. They think long term. Silver doesn't make you reckless. It makes you patient and strategic. There's also a psychological advantage that few people talk about. Owning silver reduces noise. You stop obsessing over daily price moves and start focusing on accumulation and purpose. You begin measuring progress in ounces instead of emotions. This shift creates clarity, and clarity compounds just like wealth, quietly, steadily, and without asking for attention. There's a moment in every major wealth shift when the crowd is distracted, and that moment is usually where long-term fortunes are positioned. Silver exists in that space right now, ignored because it is not loud, not fast, and not designed for instant gratification. Yet history shows that assets with real utility and limited supply do not stay undervalued forever. They wait for pressure to build. Silver is not just money, it is infrastructure. It moves through technology, energy, medicine, and defense, silently supporting the modern world while being priced as if it were optional. I've seen people change their financial trajectory simply by understanding this one principle. They stopped asking how fast silver could go up and started asking what happens if they don't own it at all. That question changes everything. One family I know began converting savings into silver after realizing their purchasing power was shrinking every year. They didn't try to time the market. They focused on ownership. Over time, their anxiety faded because preparation replaces fear. Silver also teaches discipline in a way few assets can. You cannot trade it emotionally without losing the point. You accumulate it with intention. That discipline spills into life decisions. You spend less on things that don't matter. You value durability over appearance. You begin building a future instead of renting comfort in the present. There's also a deeper lesson silver offers. Freedom is rarely loud. It doesn't arrive with applause. It arrives quietly when you realize you no longer depend entirely on systems you don't control. When markets shake, when currencies weaken, when narratives change, silver remains unchanged. It doesn't need belief to exist. The real advantage belongs to those who understand positioning before movement. By the time silver becomes a headline, the work is already done. Those who acted early are not chasing price, they are protecting time, energy, and options. Accumulation done calmly during uncertainty has always separated those who react from those who prepare. If this message resonated with you, stay connected. Like this video, subscribe to this channel, and share it with someone who understands long-term thinking. Because wealth isn't built alone, and wisdom grows when it's shared. Keep stacking intelligently, keep thinking independently, and most importantly, keep moving while others are still deciding.